It is crowded on the Chicago Bears roster bubble, and on today's show, I got 5 players that I think need to finish strong in training camp and in this final preseason game to show that they're worthy of staying on the Bears 53-man roster. So let's get things started here. Number 5, Ja'Tyre Carter, who is a player I like. Another nice Ryan Poles find, I believe, in the 7th round 2 years ago. He's graded out pretty solidly here in the preseason, but the Bears spent some money to beef up that interior this offseason. And Ja'Tyre Carter, I think, finds himself firmly on the bubble at this point in time. I mean, you think about your interior guys, locks to make the roster. Ryan Bates and Coleman Shelton are both going to make it, regardless of who starts at center. I think it'll be Shelton at this point, but initially it was going to be Bates. Tevin Jenkins is obviously a lock. I think Nate Davis is a lock given his contract. So that's 4 already. Are you going to keep a 5th guard? Now, Carter can play a little tackle, too. He's played a few snaps at left tackle in the preseason. Oh, and by the way, Matt Pryor can play both guard and tackle. So the point is, especially with a guy like Larry Borum still hanging around and Karan Amagaji just being activated from the NFI list, you're getting pretty crowded on that offensive line. Like, a decent player is probably not going to be here. Now, maybe Borum gets flipped at the last second for a late-round pick or something like that. But Ja'Tyre Carter, even though he's solid, what did Ryan Poles say at his press conference at the start of training camp? It's going to be hard to make this team. Carter could be an example of like, hey, man, you're solid. You belong on an NFL roster. It just may not be this one. Someone else may have to claim you. All right, hit that like button. If you want a final Bears 53-man roster projection before the final 53 gets announced, well, we need 1,000 likes on today's show. If we hit 1,000 likes, we will drop a final roster projection before roster cutdown day on August 27th. So show us you want one. Hit that like button. All right, number 4, Ian Wheeler, the running back. I don't know if he's actually on the bubble. I think he should be, but based on how they kind of delved out snaps for him in the preseason game against Cincinnati, I mean, he was kind of the final running back getting touches. I'm not sure he's actually on the bubble. I would like to give him some extended run in this preseason finale. Just see what he can do. Give him 10 carries. See what he can do. Because in the touches he's gotten, he's been impressive. He's just under 7 yards a carry. He did have a couple of catches against Cincinnati. He looks smooth catching the ball and give you a little yards after the catch. He looks the part. He's 5'10", 5'11". He's over 200 pounds. He plays with power and speed. Like, to me, he's a guy that I'm interested in keeping around. Now, I am acknowledging this is a crowded running back room. The Bears seem to like Travis Homer. I think they like what he brings to the table from a special team standpoint. But I think Wheeler's a more talented back. Like, how does Velus Jones factor into the equation here? So it's a tricky position right now for the Bears to kind of decipher through. But if Wheeler can have a couple strong practices down the stretch here and really show out against the Chiefs, maybe, just maybe, he has a shot to crack the 53. Make the case in the comments. Pick a player that you want to keep and explain why you want to keep them. I want to see you guys debating, explaining down in the comment section down below, because that's what the Bears are going to be doing. Position coaches are going to be making their cases. Flus and Poles and Cunningham and all these guys are going to be in a room deciding who's on the 53. So you guys make the case for a player or two down in the comments right now. Number 3, Byron Cowart. Hard to tell where he is in the Bears pecking order at this point. Maybe he's super safe. Maybe he's not even on the bubble. I'm not sure. But I think defensive tackle is a position to monitor. We'll talk about him here in just a second. But first, we do have to talk about Prize Picks. Today's sponsor, football is back, and so is Prize Picks. Daily fantasy made easy with Prize Picks. Why is it easy, Harrison? Well, it takes less than 90 seconds to create an account. Go download the app at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Our code CLNS gets you a deposit match up to $100 when you sign up. You can also get an additional $50 bonus with your first play of just $5. Doesn't even matter if you win. You're going to get that $50. How do you play, Harrison? Well, you check out some of their picks they have, or plays they have available. You pick 2 to 6 players on any given entry, and if you hit, you cash out. It's pretty simple. I got a 2-player entry for week 1. Caleb Williams, more than 236.5 passing yards. Tyreek Hill, more than 90.5 receiving yards. And that's how it is. They give you more or less stat projections. You take more or less, and if you hit, you win. It's very, very simple. 2 to 6-player entries. Obviously, if you do 6 players, you can get more bang for your buck there. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get started today for that $100 deposit match. It's an awesome deal. It's Prize Picks. Go check them out today at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Okay, Byron Cowart has graded out really well in the preseason. He flashed in that first game big time against the Houston Texans, had that 1 sack. That really stood out as well. He's a player that I think at this point in time, when you look at the defensive tackle breakdown, obviously Andrew Billings and Javon Dexter are safe. Zach Pickens is going to be in the mix. He limped off Monday's practice. Hopefully that's no big deal. But, I mean, Keith Randolph he recovered a fumble this past week, but he hasn't popped much. Michael Dwumfor, I think he's been better than him. I think Coart's your 4th guy right now, and if they keep 4 defensive tackles, I would imagine he makes this team. And I think he's been the most productive. I think I've, kind of seen him pop the most. So if he has another strong outing against Kansas City, he's probably going to make this football team. Number 2, a fellow defensive lineman, Daniel Hardy. And I really started thinking about him more the other night because I was like, man, it almost feels like a no-brainer. He should make this team, right? Like, he's flashing. He's getting after the quarterback. He's bringing down the quarterback. Look at the PFF grades. It's been pretty good. It's kind of interesting. His run defense is actually graded out higher, and I've noticed him more as a pass rusher with those 3.5 sacks. Almost forced a safety against Cincinnati this past week. But I do wonder, is he just this year's Terrell Lewis? Remember last year, Terrell Lewis, kind of the journeyman pass rusher that was on the Bears 90-man roster, had 3 or 4 sacks in the preseason. We're all like, he's like your best pass rusher in the preseason. He's a lock to make the team. Well, not only did he not make the team, he didn't get claimed either. I think he ended up on a practice squad last year with the Saints briefly, but he wasn't even on another team's 53-man roster. So I do think sometimes there are these guys that they flash, they look good, but these teams evaluate and they're like, well, yeah, he looks good when he's going up against 3rd-string right tackles and stuff like that. I don't know the exact snap breakdown. Is he playing against starters at all? Is he getting some reps with the 2s? I think he looks good. I think this is a position where you can use more depth at, but I do wonder if he's like a guy we keep talking about, but he actually doesn't make the team because we saw it last year with Terrell Lewis. And then number 1, this should be no surprise. It's Velus Jones Jr. It's go time. All eyes are on Velus. Now, maybe I'm misreading this situation. Maybe he is a complete lock no matter what. But he also didn't get into the game until later on Saturday against Cincinnati. He's done some good things in the preseason, running the football at his new position of running back. He's had a couple of nice runs. We know they value him as a kickoff returner. He is probably their best kickoff returner option. But can he prove enough? Has he shown enough offensively that if you put him out there, he can give you some value? I think on occasion he can give you kind of a gadget play offensively. Is that enough for a 53-man roster spot, or would you rather keep a guy like Ian Wheeler? Or would you rather keep a guy like Travis Homer, who can do different things on special teams? DeAndre Carter, who at least is reliable to catch a punt. He's missed some time, so that's hurt his status of making this team. I don't know. I feel like Velus Jones is firmly on the bubble, and if he can make a few splash plays against the Chiefs, that probably makes that decision a little bit easier for Ryan Poles. Will Velus Jones make the 53-man roster? What do you guys think? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Certainly would like to leave a strong final impression. There you have it. 5 roster bubble candidates going into the Bears preseason finale against the Chiefs. We'll see how these guys and others perform on Thursday. My name is Harrison Graham. Subscribe and bear down.